Me Too is part of the plan. Let me explain to you guys what I'm talking about here. Um, the whole Me Too movement, let's think about what it's doing right now. It's making men who haven't committed any crimes terrified of being, falsely accused. And it's forcing us to keep our distance from women, while giving women this impression and this idea that they are empowered and they are going to have a story and, gain more power. And some of them actually feel like they're putting, their accusers, they're the people that, did things to them. They're getting justice. Some of them are actually thinking they're getting justice. The rest of them just want to have a story to tell, stuff like that. But here's the thing. The Me Too movement is going to damage women, so much more, because here's the thing. It was already very hard for them to find a man, right? The few good men that are left. But now that most of us are going to want to have nothing to do with them because, we're terrified of catching a false accusation, it's only going to isolate them more and more than they are now. They're only going to become more and more miserable, right? They're going to have even less and less options and be doomed, to being alone because of this. But here's the thing. You guys already knew that, right? You guys already knew what this is going to do, right? You guys already knew that the Me Too movement is going to backfire and make women even more isolated and struggle, But here's what you guys might not have known. It's all part of the plan, and MGTOW is also part of the plan. See, here's the thing. The men that rule the world, the men that rule the West, the small group of men that run this country, this Western world, if you will, they predicted MGTOW. They knew we were going to take this route. You see what I'm saying? They actually set it up for us. They set up the foundation for us to go MGTOW. They want us to go MGTOW. They want men and women separated, right? They want us both alone. They don't want us having healthy, happy families. They want us alone, paying taxes, and just living in isolation and just consuming, right? And making them more wealthy and powerful. I think back in the day, it used to be better for men to get married and then get divorce raped by women. But I think they're seeing that it's more financially fruitful to keep men and women isolated and just keep them both consuming, out of depression. I think that's actually more profitable than men getting divorce raped because both of the men and the women have to work full time separately and pay their taxes, right? Now, even deeper than that, these group of men are just sick, right? The group of men that just run this Western world, they're sick and they just want to see us both separated and miserable. They don't want to see beautiful, loving, feminine women committed to men and everyone's happy. They want us, it's even deeper than money. They actually really just want to see you miserable. They actually enjoy seeing the world in the sick state it's in. And I know this because I've had the privilege of being around a few men that are higher ups, not like anything like a Rockefeller, but I've been around men that are, a couple steps below them, and I've seen how sick in the head they are, and it is insane. It's really twisted. This power, it really corrupts a lot of these men and makes them do and think crazy things. And the scary part is they have the financial power to make their dreams a reality, which is what we're seeing. But here's the thing. The sad thing is that they want us to be MGTOW, right? They want us to be separated from women. They don't want us empowering each other and teaching each other, no, we need each other. Together, we can overcome this system. They don't want that. But here's the part that's even sadder than that. I know that I'm playing into the system's hands by going MGTOW, but the sad thing is, it's still the best option. Even though we're going along with the plan by avoiding women and cutting out women, it's sadly still the best option because we can't convince them. I can't walk up to a woman and say, look, being a feminist and following the Me Too movement is all part of a bigger agenda to keep me and you separated so we're never happy and financially dependent on the system and, both working slave jobs and both paying 40% taxes, and both miserable and both on depression pills and both alcoholics and both drug addicts. You can't tell them that. They think you're the enemy. They think you're oppressing them. And you actually just have to cut yourself off from them and play into the game. It's really sad, but being MGTOW, don't get me wrong, it is the healthiest move for us as men. It's the only option we really have. It's the only safe bet. But it's still playing into the power that be. It's still playing into their hands, which is the ultimate tragedy. Because I know, logically what I need to do to, because here's the thing, right, guys? Let's be honest. We don't really want to be MGTOW. We have to be MGTOW. We were forced into this. We had things happen in our lives that forced us to protect ourselves and say, oh my God, the game is too dangerous to play. But in an ideal world, we shouldn't have to be MGTOW, right? It's a reaction to a bigger problem. And it's the right reaction because, I mean, what other options do we have? But the tragedy is that it's all part of the plan. They want us isolated like this, and they're going to isolate women. This MeToo movement is going to really isolate women even more. They'll get the few guys that want to keep pumping and dumping them, but come on, we're not going to commit, no way. So the ultimate tragedy is that I know I'm playing into their hands by going MGTOW, but it's still the best option because I can't convince women that there's an even bigger agenda. They'll never understand that. They'll never understand that being a feminist is being a pawn, and that following the Me Too movement, you're a pawn for an even bigger agenda to enslave you and keep you separated from men who are the only creatures that can protect you and pull you out of this system. But to me, an even bigger tragedy is that I know I'm a pawn. I know I'm following the system by being a MGTOW, but it's the only way to go. I don't see another way out because I can't convince women, I can't change women. I can't undo all the feminist programming for the last 25 years that she's been getting her whole life and all the trauma that, she's had from being a liberated woman. I can't undo that. You can only, get the next generation and guide them before they become, poisoned and corrupted. But you can't even get your hands on the next generation because they're being indoctrinated and poisoned before they're even 18, before they're even legal. They're being, corrupted. So it's all screwed. It is all just completely screwed. And even though being MGTOW is the best route for us and the safest route, the tragedy is that we're still playing into the agenda. They thought about this. They knew, men are going to go MGTOW. This has been going on for 50, 60 years. This agenda, ever since, first wave feminism, ever since no-fault divorce, ever since birth control was created. They knew that 40, 50 years, they predicted when men would catch on. It's all been calculated. You got to understand, right? As men, we think 10 steps ahead of women, right? But the men who run the world are geniuses, and they think 10 steps ahead of us men. They're 20 steps ahead of women and 10 steps ahead of us. So they predicted MGTOW 20, 30, 40 years ago. They knew everything is going according to plan. Don't ever think that we just became smart and we created this MGTOW thing and we are like the geniuses. I hate to break it to all of you guys, but we're not. We are still playing into the plan by being MGTOW. And it's really heartbreaking because, it's like, it's the best choice, but it's still not the right choice, and I hate that. I hate not having an answer for you guys. I hate not having a long-term solution. But if somehow we could get it through women's heads that they're being manipulated and that, it's all part of a plan, I don't know, maybe something could change, but I just don't see that happening. I really just don't see that happening. And I'm sorry if I, enrage, my MGTOW brothers who are listening to me by telling you guys we are still pawns and we are still being manipulated, but it's just the cold hard truth. MGTOW has been predicted. It's all part of the plan. They want us separated at this point, They want us distancing ourselves from women because on a very real level, the men who run the world hate women. Don't think they don't hate women. These sick men, like these New World Order guys, they despise women. They have some weird hatred for women, and they're punishing them. Don't think Me Too is good for women at all. It's punishing them. They're going to be lonelier than ever. They're not even going to have the chivalrous gentleman, to hold doors open for them. It's going to get so bad, they're going to be lonelier than they've ever been. We're about to embark on, like, the darkest times, It's really a tragedy. I'm not telling you guys to stop being MGTOW because I don't have a better solution than MGTOW at this time. It's still the safest bet for us. It's still doing good things for us. It's just sad that we are still playing into the plan by being MGTOW. They want us away from women. They don't want us finding ways to undo the programming and wake these women up and have them on our side and have them serving us. They'd rather have us separated than doing that, So that's just that's just the way I see it. And, whatever, whatever ramifications I'm going to get, or whatever you guys think, if I'm going to get some hostile comments, so be it. I'm ready for it.